Hello and welcome to Streamtabulous. A question I get asked a lot is when you're trying to create a scene in Krita with AI diffusion and you want to build up that image, I'm getting asked how can I add a pose on top of a background image that I've created? And believe it or not, it's actually easier than you think, and at the same time, it's something that you might not have actually thought of to do it. But it's kind of the same as the old school animations where they would draw their background on film, and then they would put a clear piece of film over top of that, and then they would draw the character over top of it. So it's a very similar method to that to build up your actual image. So we'll go over to the intro, and then we'll move over to Krita AI, and we'll take a look at how to do that. Okay, so here we are in Krita AI Diffusion. So Krita with the AI Diffusion plugin. If you don't know about that and you've stumbled across this video, check out the links below and I'll leave a link talking about Krita AI Diffusion, how to install it, and so forth. Now, first of all, we want to build that background. So I've already gone ahead and done a couple of tests on this. And what we've got here is we've got one with people in them. We don't want that. And then we've got this one that has a character in it. We don't want that. So we have to work at it to actually build up our prompt to get what we're actually looking for. And what I'm looking for here is originally I had animated, because I want it to kind of look like an animated scene from an animated movie, animated alleyway cyberpunk. And of course that rendered the one with all the people in it. So then I added underneath in the negative prompts, and if you don't have that, you want to click on what is currently hidden behind my head. I'll just bring that down here. You want to click on the settings, and that's going to open this up here. So I'm just going to put that back up so it's full screen. So it has our settings here. And we want to come down to enable the negative prompts. And if I remember where to find that, it's under interface, negative prompt, show. So you can turn that on, and that will allow you to enter the negative prompts. Okay. And that will give you this field here, and then you can put people, person, man, woman, character. And it still rendered a person. So I came up to the top and I put an empty animated alleyway cyberpunk, which gave me this one here. We'll run it again. And I'm working on a 768 by 1080 image resolution. So, of course, this is taking a little bit of time. I've been meaning to do this video for a while, but unfortunately my neuromuscular condition's been playing up and I've been in a great deal of pain and really bad hand tremors lately. So we'll see how that goes. So, and here we have another alleyway here. So once we've got our background, and I'm going to choose this one here, we're going to apply that, which is going to give us our background here, and then we're going to drop our mannequin in. And check the links out below. I'm actually putting up a zip file of the mannequins that I have, since I've been asked for that. Now, with those mannequins, I have resized them all so they are around about 512 by 512. So some of them were really small. If you use a small image and you drop it in, the skeleton that is created from that will usually be a complete mess. And again, if it's too large, you can have the same problem. And if it's also too large, you need more compute power, so it may end up just hanging and not actually rendering it. So I'm just going to select this character here. I'm going to drop that in. So I'm dragging it from my other screen and I'm dropping it across and I'm inserting it as a new layer, which is giving me this. I'm going to resize that, clicking on the transform layer, and I will bring it in, bring it down to here. I want her to look like she's just sort of standing in the middle of the scene, giving a bit of a pose. Okay. I kind of like that. And of course, from there, what we're going to do is we're going to click on, and it's behind my head again, so I'll bring that down. We're going to click on this here, add a layer control. Once we click layer control, we're going to click on here. So where it says scribble, I'm going to come down and add pose. And then I'm going to press the 3 stars, which again is behind my head. So the 3 stars here. And those 3 stars are going to take a moment to render my stick figure. Of course, it does take a little bit of time, so have some patience. The smaller the image that you're working with, the faster it will actually be. Okay, now that we have our pose, we could hide that and we could render a person, but it's going to create an entire new scene. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer now, which is going to give us a transparent layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and grab the freehand tool, and we're going to trace. And I'm going to trace this a little bit larger because I kind of want it to hopefully draw some maybe hair in or something. I'm going to come down. We're just going to trace this. Come up here. Put in. Now, if you've got a pen, you'll probably be doing a better job than I am. Okay. Up. Okay. Now we have our traced image. We're going to hide the pose in the background. We're going to leave the control layer. We're working on the control layer. And I am going to change this here. Cyberpunk. Okay, I'm just putting cyberpunk female robotic implants. Now we have our traced area here. We're going to drop this strength back because we want this to look at the back image here and try to keep it the same for when it's filling up this area here. And we're going to hit generate and we're going to give that a moment. Okay. All right. So we can see that it's generated that background, and the reason for that is I still have the negative prompts. So let's remove that from the negative prompts and we'll run that again. Okay, we may have to turn that up a little bit. So we're going to crank that to 60%. Sometimes you need to play with the weight. The only problem is when you bring the weight up, some of this background won't remain, but we still have that outside image. Okay, so we have a bunch of people, but we're not getting quite where we want to go there. I'll remove that layer off. I'm going to go to that control layer. I'm going to put more, and we're going to one female. We'll separate that with a comma. Brought that weight up again. But we can see that it's still remaining as we can see a lot of that image. The parts that are changing aren't changing drastically too much, so we're holding some of that image. But once we get a full-bodied person in there, it will be better. But like I said, there are ways around this if we don't get what we're looking for. Okay. So now we're getting more of what we're actually looking for. It's holding that background rather decently. So we'll put that up on a higher strength. We'll try 90. We'll see how bad it modifies that background. So we can see that sometimes we have to build it and play with it. And I always say start from a lower number and then work your way up. I generally have better results doing that. And again, we can see that's filling in nicely. We're getting some bigger changes in the background. So if we have a look at that, for example, we can see that some of those buildings are lining up. It's a weird image though. So, and of course we can erase around that and fill it in. So that is not an issue. So we'll take this one for example. I'm just going to do one more render. with the word close up, and we'll see if we can bring it in more, but it probably won't be very hard to fill that area based on this when it doesn't know what it's actually looking at. When you add controls, we do get longer render times. That's actually fantastic. We're really getting into that field. So that one's well and truly off. I like that one there. And I like that one there. So we'll say this one. I'll apply that. Now we can deselect this and we can come over to our brush. We can put it on, say, the feathered one there. Adjust our size of our brush. We can put it on the eraser, and then we can come around and we can actually erase that if we want more of our background image that we had from our original. But I am very happy with the build that we actually have here. So now that we've got that, we're going to hide that one. We're going to come back down to this layer here, and we're going to show another trick, which I have not tried before. So I'm going to go deselect. We have our image. I want to be on pose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select paint bucket, but I'm going to leave it on erase. And when I do that, I'm going to erase everything around it. Strength of that seems to be a little bit too strong. I don't believe there's an adjustment for that, so we'll bear with that. We'll just live with those little mistakes that it's doing there. Okay. Now we have our pose control, we have our image. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select our image here. Come over. Fighting Travis, bear with me. Whew, okay, we got there. Now I'm going to leave that on, and I'm going to leave that at 90%. And now it's going to look at this here, and we'll see what it does. So, because when you have images on like this, it looks at the entire scene of what it can see, and then it tries to generate something new. So this will be interesting, but we're giving it 90%, so we're saying, hey, this is what we've got, but you've got a lot of liberty to change that actual image that you're seeing here. And at the same time, we have pose control, which is giving it some more direction based on this mannequin. Okay, so we can see here, and it is semi-working, but because of the 90%, it's not quite holding true to the original character. So we're going to dial that back, and it's going to be interesting because the mannequin is just solid. Well, it's a grey color. And the problem with that is it may base its render on those colors. So we might not get skin tones, hair colors, and so forth. It might be... it certainly would hold to that if we take it all the way back. We're going to 70%. So it's saying change it. And hopefully that will incorporate new elements. Okay, so we have our render, and that is much better. It is holding a lot more. So it's getting in closer to what we're actually looking at there. Got some artifacts sometimes at the bottom. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to try 50%, and we'll see what happens there. This will be very interesting. But you can see that we're adding a character to it. We're using the pose control, and we're just selecting our area. And one of the things I'm getting told is, hey, it's rendering an entire new image, and I'm unable to add my characters. You have to think of it like the old school cartoons where it was drawn on film, and then they put another layer on, and then they put another layer on it and draw their other characters in. So layer upon layer upon layer, and build your image up that way. If you want to add more elements to it, or perhaps change a sign, just select the sign that you're actually wanting to change. Yeah, don't try to do the whole image. And we can see here that it's too much now, but we can see that it's exactly the same as the mannequin. So that's actually working exceptionally well. And that's at 50%, so that's quite surprising. So we can try that at 60% and see where that ends up. We can actually apply one of those and render over top of it and see what it actually does as well. The problem I'm finding with this is I'm liking these darker colors that are blending in with the image a lot more, especially like this one here. Absolutely loving that. Where when we're coming down and we're reducing that strength, you can see that we're getting a lot more white in our character. So we're losing the lighting and the composition of the shadows as we're moving down. So, and we can see that there. We can see it as we transition to more strength, 70%, 90%. So in trying to keep it closer to the mannequin, we are losing some of that information. And of course, we can come through and darken the character up, of course. You know, we can certainly do that and see what would happen. So, and we can do that by applying it. And then we can go to, I think it's under settings. Nope, it's tools, artistic, levels. Going to bring up level adjustment, looks something like this. And we can darken it up. And now we've got that underneath. We can have that as a part of the image, so it can generate from there. And we can run that again. And now it's looking at everything which is on screen, which is applied. So it's looking at this one because it's on the top. This one is hidden by that, so it's not getting looked at. The control layer is still getting looked at for the pose, even though you can't see it because it is pointed to it. Now, because it has some reference of a person, we should get more of the character detail. We may have an issue with the fanning on the outside because of the fact that we have darkened the sky and some of the buildings. So I'm unsure how that will go with the bumper, with the way it fans in. We're about to find out. There we go. So that actually works exceptionally well. Beautiful. So I will apply that one. I love that. Deselect. So we have that, which was, there's our mannequin. We rendered this one here, which was too light originally, so that's our 90% one, which I loved. But of course, it's not really in line with that. So if you're looking for something like that, so this one is more in line with the mannequin which has been put in. So we've applied that and we darkened it up. And then we did a run over it, which has given us this one here, which matches up pretty closely to our mannequin and has stayed true with our background. So we can see that there. And we have some changes like just in there. And as I said before, because of that is a layer, you can come down with that and you can adjust that. And I hate doing this because I have horrible hand tremors. But you can spend the time to do the cleanup. And the arm's playing up because I did some gardening. So I will stop there. So you can do that and erase it in if you really want to. So that is how we build up our image. And of course, I mean, if you don't like the hair on that, you can always select that and you can change the hair. You can do whatever you want. And build that image little bit by little bit until you get that artistic look that you're actually looking for. Cyberpunk hair. Keep it at 60%. We'll do render on it. You could do pink. So you could try to define a hair color and see what we put in there. So build your image layer by layer by layer. Select what you're actually working from and or working on. This is what makes Krita with the AI diffusion really powerful. And this is also what gives it an edge over top of something like PaintShop Pro with its generative fill, because you can adjust the strengths to have it look at your background image and so forth. Let this go and we'll see what our hair looks like. So our hair is staying to the original, so we want to crank that up nice and strong, so we'll go 90%, which will allow it to create a different hair. And also, if you're getting a bad face, you can actually increase the image after. Select the face, and because you're selecting a small area, it will be only the area resolution that you're actually selecting, and then you can redo the face or whatever you need to get higher quality in those areas. It's something a lot of people say because they're working on a low image, 512 by 512, because their systems are like this, not very strong, and they might find that the face quality is just not there. Just increase it, change it to 1000 by 1000, and then select the face. And same as this, select the face, change your weight for your strength up here, and then render it, and that should give you a new style face. There we go, we've got pink hair. Beautiful. Oh, I love that one. Love that one. Both great. So we can deselect there. Okay. So there's our face. There's our hair. Save that. And then resize our image again. So that's the beauty to it. You can resize. I'm going to go higher. Okay. Select a new layer this time, just in case. Just want... I'm going to do it faster to help those hand tremors. So there we go. Okay, put it up a bit more. Okay, so I went slightly higher on the image scaling this time, so it will take a little bit longer, but I'm hoping for a bit more details. Hopefully we keep our pink hair this time. That's why I created a new layer, so it doesn't change the layer that we're on. But realistically, it should be creating a new control layer when it's actually doing it anyway. Well, not a control layer, but a preview layer. So this is just a precautionary step of creating that layer. So we can see that there. We can come in and we can actually see there is more detail in that. So we can start to see irises, eye details, and so forth. So compare that to the original, and we just see pixels instead. So that's how we would correct a face, and we can go higher image again if we wanted to, and that would give us more details to the face. So you can do it that way to add to it. That's off, that's on. So I kind of like the sharpness of that one, but of course you can go through and play with that as well. So that's entirely up to you. And we'll save that. Okay, so there it is. So when you're using Krita and you're wanting to create your background and then add your image to it, that's what you want to do. You want to create a layers, and then you want to outline just the area that you're actually filling. And one of the other things which is definitely handy to know, and we'll just go over and I'll show you, is if we come into those settings again here, and we come down to our, where is it, diffusion, we have our padding. By default, that's a lot higher. So you can drop that down so it holds more to closer to what you're actually selecting. The padding, when you select something, adds to the outside of it to fan in. So that's something to keep in mind. And depending on what you're doing, sometimes you want a bigger buffer because then you don't get the color distortion. It fans in a lot more. So that's certainly something to keep in mind. So there it is. That's how to build up your image and keep that background that you've come up with or that you've worked on. And you can use a sketch image, and then you can use that sketch image to create your background from it. And then you can build up your image there in the same way that I'm doing here. So again, don't forget also to like, subscribe, and get the bell on for notifications. And if you found this video helpful, share it to your social media or to the groups that you're in, and hopefully it teaches others. And of course, Krita is completely free and a fantastic program. And AI Diffusion by Auspicious Firefly, I believe he's called, is also free, and he's done an absolutely fantastic job with that. And it gives a lot of control for what you want to do, whether it's from photo restoration, creating artwork, or just fiddling around and having fun with prompts. There's a lot of power with those two tools together and the way it actually works. And hopefully this teaches you how you can create artwork. And of course, if you wanted to have your face on the character in it, I've talked about that in prior videos, so you can go check those out on the channel as well. So you can create your own face and then use that in the image. You can even create a constant character set, so it's the same clothing. So if you're doing something like a book, or maybe a comic book, and you've decided to create this character and you've created that character a lot, have enough photos of that to create a Laura model, then you can use that Laura model to have that character constantly recreated in the same clothing, the same style, same hair color, and then you can use that on your backgrounds that you create to build up your book, build up your comic, or whatever it may be that you're trying to express yourself with. And I think this tool is fantastic and gives a lot of people abilities that perhaps they didn't have before. In my case, gives me abilities back that I lost thanks to disabilities, multiple disabilities. So yeah, like, subscribe, and get the bell on for notifications. There it is. Again, like, subscribe, get the bell on for notifications. Leave a comment below if you found this helpful. Mannequins are linked below, so you can download those and use them in your Krita to build up your image. And of course, I will see you in the next Streamtabulous video. Thank you for watching my video and sticking around to the end. If you like my videos, it'd really help me out if you could like and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm to push my videos out there to more viewers, which in turn helps me and helps everyone. So thank you for watching my video and hanging around to the end, and I will see you in the next video.